Chapter 10 Life on a Farm in the Middle Atlantic Colonies Part 2. Do you remember that in the last chapter you read a story about Patience and Primrose? They found something very special under a shrub. Who can remember what it was? When you left them, they had set off to do their chores. Let's find out what happened to them. The girls' uncle had given them good advice about the Middle Atlantic colonies. These colonies offered people from Europe new opportunities as well as religious freedom. Although these were English colonies, Germans, Dutch, French, Swedish, and Irish people came to live in New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. Every day, more and more people arrived to start a new life. Papa often told the children stories about his trips into town. He would tell them of the different languages he heard being spoken there. He would describe the people who came from many different parts of Europe. He would occasionally bring home strange and unusual foods he had brought from the market or the street vendors. One of their favorites was English pop robins. The girls looked forward to the delicious balls of batter made from flour and eggs boiled in milk. Papa would describe the styles of clothes people wore and the different customs he had heard about. Almost all of their neighbors were from different parts of Europe. Their closest neighbor was a family from Germany. In the first years of the 18th century, German families had begun to arrive in this colony. At harvest Thanksgiving time, their German neighbors had cooked scrapple and brought it to their home. The boys had loved this pudding dish of meat and grain. The girls were less thrilled, but they had loved the apple strudel that followed. The girls and their family had also been invited to visit with an Irish family who lived about a mile away. Mama had been amazed by how much the Irish family liked to eat butter and cream. It was a well-known fact that the Middle Atlantic colonies produced more food than the New Atlantic colonies. The soil in the Middle Atlantic colonies was so much better for farming. For this reason, these colonies had earned the name the breadbasket of the colonies. They produced huge amounts of rye, barley, and wheat, their most important crop. Farmers sent their grain harvest to the water-powered mills across the region. At the mills, the grain was turned into flour. The flour was sold to other colonies and to people in the West Indies. It was even sold to English merchants who shipped it to England. The girl's mother often joked that they were helping to feed the King of England himself. The Middle Atlantic colonies were not only known for farming. Along the coast, fishermen fished and skilled craftsmen built boats and ships. Men cut down trees from the forest and turned them into lumber, to be used to make boats as well as to be shipped to towns and cities in England. Because people of different faiths were free to worship as they wished, different kinds of churches were springing up throughout the Middle Atlantic colonies. There were various Christian churches, including the Lutheran church that the girls' family attended. Like the children's family, most of the Swedish settlers were Lutheran. There were Jewish temples too. Small one-roomed schoolhouses were also beginning to appear. Only boys could attend them. The girls' two older brothers went to school to learn reading, writing, and manners. When they weren't at school, Papa taught the boys how to hunt, farm, build fences, and make tools. Primrose and Patience went about doing their chores. They led the cows into the pasture. The cows followed them obediently along the familiar track. After that they weeded and watered the newly planted vegetable garden, stopping only once to drink water from the well and put it on their sunbonnets. They did not speak much as they worked. Primrose hummed to herself as she worked through. As they neared the end of their task, Patience looked up and exclaimed, "I know! Will hide my kitten in my pocket! That way she can come with me everywhere I go. Her name will be Midnight." Primrose glanced at her sister and sighed. There was no point disagreeing with her or even pointing out the fact that her kitten would grow into a cat. It was clear that Patience was determined to have a pet kitten. When they were done with the weeding, Primrose stood up and looked toward their cabin. We had better go help Mamma with the quilt. Now that it is springtime, maybe she will make each of us a new dress," she said hopefully. "I would also like some new ribbons for my hair." Patience's eyes lit up. "I want a blue dress with a very large pocket," she said excitedly, "and some yarn for Midnight to play with." With that the two girls ran off to find their mother. "How would you feel if you had to do so many chores each day?"